Ooh, look, a countdown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays.
Good evening.
Ah, damn, Trina's frozen again.
Frozen Trina. Classic Trina. Oh, she's asleep. She appears to be asleep.
Sleepy Trina.
Sleepy Trina indeed.
How are y'all this evening?
Fantastic.
Good.
How about yourself?
Not bad. Not bad at all for a Friday.
And Trina, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful.
Excellent.
Yeah, Mr. Wonderful.
Wait a minute. You're not Trina.
What gave it away? The beard,
The fact you're not asleep.
or the fact that I'm not asleep,
You're
or the
playing
fact that
possum.
it's been 15 seconds and I've not made one innuendo or sexual remark.
Ah, well, you'll be kept on.
All of the above. All of the above.
So,
Who do we have in the chat?
who do we have in the chat? Indeed. Let's have a gander here. Let's see. We have Jesus Christ. Apparently arrived early. So
Nice.
it's always good. Usually it takes him 3 days, but he's early. We have Frank S. Look, Frank S. Your
Hello,
name
Frank
is also
S.
on the screen. We have Scarlett, the four-eyed Cuda. Hey, Scarlett. Glad to have you here. Curtis Boyle is joining us. Also another Canadian.
Curtis?
Yep, Curtis. And JC is also Canadian. I am Canadian, of
JC?
course. JC.
Hola.
CDI is here. Hey, CDI. Glad you could join us. Some fellow named Sloopy Malibu is here, but we don't really care about him.
Who's that guy?
I have no idea.
Call the exterminator.
Yeah.
If you've got a sloopy.
Do you want to get Sloopies? Because this is how we get Sloopies.
Mhm.
They warn you.
Joe from Joe's Computer Museum's here. Hey, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Rudy from Rudy's Retro Intel is also here. Hey, Rudy. Another Canadian. So see, we're being slowly outnumbered, you all.
Oh, yes.
Will from K-Mac Vintage here. Hey, Will.
Hey, Will.
Good to have you. Garth Beagle has found his way. Must have landed his helicopter early and found his way to our stream. So glad to have you, Garth. Garth, I specifically have this put aside for just such
Garth?
moments.
The cricket is on the other side, so you can't hear it.
And I think that is everybody. I think that's all we got. So thank you, everybody. We have 13 people watching. Be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We don't ask for much, but that helps us every week. So we appreciate you being here. So what is new in everybody's little world?
I was a good boy, so they gave
It's
me
been
treats.
busy.
Bacon strips. Nice. Real cheddar flavor.
The good
Nice.
stuff.
Nice. This is my first time back in like 2 weeks, I think. I think I've been gone 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks ago, I was at VCF Midwest. I'm going to show some of the stuff and talk a little bit about my experiences tonight. And other than that, last weekend, I was on a quadding adventure or an ATV adventure with some of my very old friends. And unfortunately, the internet at the cabin is not the greatest, so I couldn't attend last week's stream. So I do apologize for not being here for anybody who can, come specifically.
Well, you tried, but it cut in and out.
Yes, and I believe I tried when I was on VCF. We were eating deep dish pizza, and I attempted to connect. So, no, it's not Starlink. It's just cell phone, and it's like 1 bar. So, anyway, it's all good. So, what else is going on in people's lives?
Liam brought home some type of plague from school.
Oh, a nice
So
plague.
we had all been sick this week.
Most kids bring home plaque, like they've done something good. Like here's an award.
Well, it's only the second week, so.
Wow. You poor thing.
But yes, it's been a very sick week this week for everyone.
So everybody in your household got it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Made its rounds. Everybody got it.
Nothing worse.
But I'm on the tail end of it. It's just this cough, like the persistent cough issue now.
Well, you know what they say. It's not the coughing that takes you away. It's the coughing.
That's right.
Man. All right, I'll see myself out.
Sloopy,
how about yourself? What's new in your world?
I got a big thing to fix my screw up.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like to go out either.
Rudy's
Rudy's barbecuing. Tell your mom happy birthday, 88th birthday.
Happy birthday, Rudy's mom. Let me see if I can guess what it is, Sloopy. It's a oil reservoir for a 2012 Harley Davidson.
That man is smart.
Woo!
A big thing to screw. What?
I'm confused as well.
Joe, just it's low hanging fruit, bud. Just
Well, it's
leave
got
it
a
there.
lot of ports on it, but
All the holes. All the holes. Anyway, yeah. Anything else going on in your life, Sloopy, that you want to talk about?
hopefully I'm getting a couple of Magnavox monitors soon.
Well, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Color monitor 40 that's green, and a color monitor 40 that's color.
Nice.
For those that don't know, Magnavox was one of the OEMs. Well, Magnavox Philips was one of the OEMs for
Commodore.
for Commodore. So the color one is very similar to the monitors used for the Amiga.
Oof.
Cool.
And the black and white one was a very commonly sold for Apple IIs.
Cool.
So it'll go nicely with my Apple II Plus.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
And next week, Tandy assembly.
That's exciting. So that's mostly for like people who are into the programming side of Tandy, correct?
It's technically for anything Tandy,
Right.
but it's very centric towards the non-color computer machines.
So like
one,
the
yeah, the
two.
1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 16, 6000, the Model 100, Model 200, Model 600.
What about the 1000 TX? Like when we get into the actual PC?
They quote unquote support them,
Yeah.
but there isn't a large showing for them.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's a bigger showing for the Coco than for the color computer than there is for the PC compatibles.
Thanks,
But
Frank.
there are one or two there, and they do support them. It's very model
Specific.
1, 3, 4, because that's one single line.
So it's the track.
For some of them, and then others it's 2, the 2, 12, 16, and 6000.
Okay, so it's more like the Trash 80, and then some of the stuff. So it's outside the color computer, basically.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
More
Sounds like a fun time.
more of the early in business stuff.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, because I know 2 years. I went there 2 years ago, and they had the school system where it was Model 3, Model 3 and 4s, and they were all set up in a network, and you had the teacher's computer, and it had this box with this big dial on it, like the old TV.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember seeing videos of that. Yeah.
The UHF dial where you just turn it, and then we go to 16 different machines, and you'd select which one, and then you'd be able to load the software on it, and then go to the next one and load the software on it. And it was quite interesting.
Garth was admiring my pet, so I figured what I should do is
Speaking of pets, I'm supposed to be getting my pets there.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I've only been waiting since 2019 for them.
Were they not arrived, or what was the issue?
The issue is they were in Oregon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the state below Washington, so Oregon.
Oregon.
And originally the guy was supposed to be coming east for vacation. Then he had health issues, and then COVID, and then a friend of mine in Vancouver went down and got them, and kept several for himself, and then brought them to VCF Midwest, but I wasn't able to come. So
Cool.
This guy that I know, his name's Joe. You may have heard of him.
Now, would that be Joe from Joe's Computer Museum?
Hey, you do know him.
Yeah, I know Joe. He owns the website jcm-1.com.
Yeah, everybody knows Joe.
Everybody
He's
knows
a great guy.
And he has a great website to get you everything you need for your 8-bit and up computer project.
Mm-hmm. So he got he has them, and I'm going to meet him. It's a me, a Joe. So I'm going to meet him at Tandy Assembly because he lives a bit north of there. And then after 5 years, I'll have my pets.
Nice. Well, better later than never, right?
Absolutely. I'm just glad I've survived long enough to get them.
So, have you ever owned a pet before?
Just Pokey.
Well, sorry, yeah, sorry. A Commodore pet.
Nothing.
Okay.
I've touched one, I've used one, but I've never owned one.
Now, the ones you're getting, are they like a 4016 or what are they?
I do believe one of them is a 4000. Whether it's a 16 or 32, I don't know. I think it's a 16. And the other one, I am not sure at all what it is.
Okay. I've always wanted one of the CPM. There is one 4032, Joe was saying, so 4032.
Ah, okay.
So, I've always wanted one of the CPM machine or the Commodore business machines, CBM machines. You know, that are pet, but they're like rounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The B series.
To answer your question, Garth, yes, there are lots of USB-C USB sticks available. Lexar has a whole line of them. They work really well.
Oh, the other one's a 2001.
Okay, so this is a 2001. So
So
you have one with and possibly the 2001 has a chiclet keyboard like mine does.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, some don't if they're really, really late. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
That's very exciting.
I don't even know if they work.
Well, Scarlett makes a really good point. Are they spayed and neutered?
From the factory, yes, by design.
And Joe says both have normal keyboards, so you don't have the first gen.
It must be a later 2001.
Yeah.
I wasn't given an option of which ones I get to choose.
Fair enough. So where are they coming from? Are they like old school system machines? Do they have like the district carved in them like they used to do in a lot of places?
Honestly, I don't know because I don't remember. See, when
Joe might know.
When I originally talked to the person about it,
yeah,
was 2019.
Right.
And I haven't really gotten many pictures or such then, and I don't remember a lot from back then. So
gotcha. Fair enough. It was a very difficult time, that era.
Yes. Cool. It was when we were young and innocent.
Correct. And we didn't quite have jcm-1.com to help us with all of our retro computer needs. Remember, if you need something for your 8-bit computer, and you remember that 8 bits are all you need, you check out jcm-1.com. All right, so yeah, that's all very exciting. I know that Frank has some cool stuff coming for next week, but we're not going to talk about that until next week.
That's right.
But maybe I can go down some of the stuff I got at VCF Midwest.
Yay!
Yeah, so my first time at VCF Midwest was this past. Let's make myself a little bigger, I guess. There we go. My first time at VCF Midwest was this past September 6th, so the beginning of the month. I flew from St. John's to Montreal to Chicago. It was a really interesting time. I arrived. Actually, it was funny. I arrived on site at the hotel, and it was a very strange hotel because you had to walk in the front door, and you didn't see the desks. There was no like front desk. There was no one there to greet me. There was no bellhop on the door. Apparently, at the time I arrived, he was on lunch. So I had to bring all my stuff in. I had piles and piles of bags. So I got out of the Uber. Ryan walked all the last 300 pounds, by the way. Yeah, it's true. I did. I literally brought all my kit from the front of the hotel down this long like hallway to the bottom of an escalator that I then had to travel up to get to the front desk. It was a very strange layout. Anyway, long story short, I got in, and while I was doing that, Taylor and Amy and Veronica Explains were coming down over the escalator, and I made a quip. I was like, "This is very strange to see you people in, real life and not on the computer." And they suggested that I hold my phone up if I wanted to feel as though I was experienced watching them on YouTube again. So that was my first. And then I sort of milled around. I got to my hotel room, and it was kind of fun. And then we, I think the first person I saw was Eric, and they were kind of bunched up in a little bunch, and Joe was there, and Ron, and yeah. Anyway, it was nice. I finally got to meet everybody. It was again strange seeing all these people for the first time in real life. Ron is a lot taller than you think he is. Was my first shock, and Javier is a lot shorter than you think he is, which is the shock. And Dave is an absolute monster. So that's my takeaways.
Is Dave taller? Dave taller than Ron?
I would say they're very close. If Ron might be slightly taller, but Ron can answer that for sure.
So they see eye to eye on most things.
They do. They're equally as nice people. Their niceness is equal to their height. Yep, Ron is 6'4". There you go.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. The first day was kind of interesting. I kind of had to, myself and I'm trying to remember who it was. We sort of fibbed and said we were volunteers, and they gave us VCF, and I have it up here on the wall, but I'm not going to take it down. But they gave us VCF Midwest volunteer badges, even though we weren't volunteers. But we helped everybody set up their tables. So I went and I assisted Joe and Steve and Ron. They were all setting up their tables. Dave is 76 inches, whatever that is. In what's your freedom units? Anyway,
so that'd be 6'4".
Oh, so they're both the same height. That's the joke, I guess. Anyway, they we got everything set up the first day, and then I bumped into oh god, my brain is breaking down here now. The Canadian Computer Collector, and then I helped Dan. Thank you. Then I helped Dan set up his booth, which was really cool because he brought the Castle computer all the way from Winnipeg, so it was like a 12 or 13 hour drive for them. And then he was telling us horrors of his hotel room. He decided to get a cheaper hotel at one of the other overnight stays, if you will, near the event. And it was just one urination room after another urination room after another. Anyway, it's a pretty funny story. I'm sure he'll tell it in his video. I don't want to ruin it. But
they probably did a lot of wet work in his.
Yeah, it was definitely. Anyway, it was quite hilarious.
Like the 38 motel.
Yeah. As Garth said, there was a lot of yellow everywhere.
Yeah, the 38 motel is a motel that's not far from VCF East. That let's just say it's better than sleeping in your car.
I don't know.
In a highway rest stop.
Yeah. But I will say the hotel for the event was phenomenal. The event space was massive. It felt like it was going to be like too big at first because there was lots of tables, there was lots of empty stuff. But by the time Saturday rolled around, the place was packed. But it was good flow. There was no like super congested areas. The YouTubers area was very available and very easy to navigate. And so you didn't feel like you were getting stuck in certain areas. I happened to have a chance to meet several of my favorite YouTubers, which was kind of cool. I met Ken from the Crazy Ken from the Computer Clan. I met Adrian of Adrian's Digital Basement.
Awesome.
And I got a chance to meet and talk to Adrian. I got to talk to all of them, but Adrian. But then I also got to talk to Dave Murray, the 8-bit guy. So that was kind of cool. Then I met some weird dude named Steve Mac84. He said I should know who he is. He's got some sort of.
He's a great guy.
Is he? Because he seemed a little like. He's like, I'm a YouTuber. I'm cool. I'm hip.
Yeah, he can be a little standoffish and
he just kept throwing. He just kept throwing stuff at me. He kept throwing mouse pads at me. Yeah. So I got this like feeling scuzzy mouse pad. Yeah, Joe. He also kept touching Joe's butt. It was very strange.
Yeah, he must have really liked you then.
And then he gave me He gave me this 92 lineup, I think it is, or 93 lineup.
Ooh. Yeah, he really did like you.
And then he gave me this. But see, I paid for some of these, but because your American money is so strange to me, I paid for it with Sacagawea dollars. So like the coins, and that
Oh,
made Steve angry.
you didn't do that normal foreign thing. Say, I've only got this much money. Just take what you're what you
No,
need.
nothing like that. I was just there was a set price for the mouse pads, and I was like, "Here, Steve, here's some money," and I just poured coins in his hands, and he was upset that he had coins because apparently Americans hate coins. Yes, I was also tossing a lot of Ethernet cards everywhere. I was like a ninja. Everywhere I went, I brought I think I brought 40. They were 3Com. I'm sure there's still some of them around here somewhere. Standard 3Com PCI network cards, the one that everybody had back in the day. Anyway, I had a whole box of them, so I was just throwing them to everybody. I brought a pile of stuff down. We Steve's. All right. You.
Hey, Steve.
Yes.
So-
also, hello, Big Steve.
So you were like Gambit with the playing cards.
Yes, yeah. It was just like, who wants a Nick? Or like Oprah. You're getting a Nick, and you're getting it. People who didn't want Nicks still got Nicks. It was great. I also got a chance, like I said, I got to meet the 8-bit guy. I got a copy of Petsky Robots, which he was nice enough to sign for me. And that was sort of the first day. It was kind of a whirlwind and very tiring. Yeah, it was a 3C 509. Yeah, I was a 3Com distribution. 905. Yeah. I was the 3Com distribution network. It was hilarious. So yeah, I brought a bunch of stuff down with me that I gave away. I had arcade boards. I had a bunch of new old stock networking stuff. I brought a bunch of I was going around with one of those standard hotel carts. I kept it the whole weekend. I hid it in my room. And I pushed it around. And I was just giving people stuff out of these boxes. I also had some stuff that I had promised to some of our friends who I brought with me. It was cheaper than shipping. And so it was a lot of fun. I also picked up a bunch of stuff, which I'll show. The first thing, I was so excited when Eric offered this to me. Eric offered this to me a couple of months ago. And I was like, I think this might be my favorite thing. It's a civil defense. Official civil defense guider counter. It goes to 5 rads per hour, which I think at that point you're pretty, much dead.
I just have one question about it.
Yeah.
How did you get it through customs?
In my suitcase.
And they didn't say a word about it.
No, it doesn't have radioactive material in it. It detects radioactive material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, usually when you have things that detect something, they want to know why you need to detect it.
Because I'm a man of science, and I must know these things. But it's really cool. It's got some really neat circuitry. It runs on 1.5 volts. Just a standard C battery, I think. Or anyway, I'm going to make a lithium-ion replacement for it.
Well, as long as you don't have any shoddy pinball parts, then you're good.
Yes. Also, I will point out, as Garth had pointed out, the VCF venue had canned wine. And not only was it canned wine, apparently it was delicious canned wine, which apparently is not common amongst canned wines.
I've never heard of canned wine.
So imagine a can of beer, but instead of beer.
No, I get the gist, but I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
So how high did that thing go when you pointed it at Steve?
It went all the way to the top. Apparently, New Jersey is incredibly radioactive. But the most radioactive part was his knee, which we don't really... So I can only assume he was at the dump previously, picking retro computer parts out of the dump.
It's probably toner from printers.
And he happened to kneel down. Yeah.
I wish I was there so you could have tested me, because I spent 10 years in New Jersey.
Oh, well, you're probably a goner at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm 10 years out, so hopefully it's all gone and dissipated by now.
The half-life is 10 years. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We all hung out. It was really nice to meet people for the first time. I grabbed a pile, and I literally mean a pile of stickers from all our favorite YouTubers. I also spent the entire weekend putting googly eyes on everything. So there are just googly eyes everywhere. Unfortunately, the couple of things I actually planned on buying when I was down there, I didn't buy. Like, I was supposed to buy a Pico Gus, and I completely forgot. But you know where I can buy a Pico, Gus? JCM-1.com.
That's right.
So I still need to buy a Pico Gus. The only thing I did pick up, which was really cool, I'm really excited about, and Ron can probably explain a little bit better what this does. I picked up the Pico Micro Mac. It's this small little board that Ron designed.
Ooh.
Ron's got another cool gadget. Look at that.
Yeah, Ron is the master blaster of cool gadgets. So apparently you just solder your little Pico Pi thing to this header. I'm told pin 40 is down here. So I have to make sure I do that properly. And then you load up the software, and this will emulate a Macintosh 128, a 256, and a 512, Ron. Is that correct? Or is it a 1 meg?
No, if it was 1 meg, then it would do a Mac Plus.
Yeah, so it must be just 512, 128, 512.
I'd like to learn more about
256.
this wizardry.
I don't know if it'll do a 512. I think it just does the 128.
Pico Mac is a UMac emulator for the Pi Pico Flash. Boom, you have a Mac 128.
Yeah, just the 128.
Okay. So there you go. So it makes a 128 for, and I'm going to use this in my classroom. I'm going to get my students to learn to solder it, and I'm going to get them to program the board, and we're going to turn, a regular computer
That is
monitor
so cool.
into an old Mac. So I think
And what are you going to run on it?
Probably, if I can get like Dark Castle 1 to run, I will. I assume that'll work. No, some video game of some sort.
You could probably use Mac Paint.
The Pico only has 556K of RAM, but I think the last version of the emulator basically has 240K of RAM available. Okay, so there you go.
Ron, check your Discordia Concordia.
Frodo just ordered 4 of them.
No, I want to hear more about it. I think that's a cool thing. I've not seen
It's a cool
that
little
yet.
project. Yeah, there you go. Load Runner Missile Command. Sure, we'll go with something like that. Yeah, so that was what I picked up from Ron. I also planned to buy a few other things from Ron and completely forgot, so I apologize. There's also some really cool CDs Ron was giving out, which is the Dark Side of the Mac. These are fantastic.
Now,
songs.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So if it runs like a 128K
Uh-huh.
and it's got a Pico,
Uh-huh.
can one do networking?
I would assume you could use the wireless if there's software for it.
No, there's no software for it. Because you require at least, I think, System 5 or 6 for networking.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's not a 128K.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. Anyway, I thought it was a really cool little project, and like there isn't much networking on that era of Mac, as Ron says.
Fine, then we'll just connect some damn phone net to it, and we'll connect a couple to LAN.
As you can see, when Ron develops a few things, he will, so you got the USB power here.
Yep,
then he also has a couple of power headers. So, like, if you wanted to put this in a
Nice.
case and run a different power adapter, you can. That's what I love about all Ron's projects, is that they're very well thought out and very
exactly. I love
and
it.
have purpose, which I like. So,
Speaking of Ron, what's that above your head?
This is I don't know. Can I call it? Ron? Can I tell everybody what this is? Right here.
Yeah, you hook it to your golf bag. I've seen those.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
He explained it very, very eloquently. For anybody who used to watch Tenacious D, when the band would travel, they would have T-shirts and stuff. They'd have a merch store, and one of the things that they would have is like sort of a secret prize or secret merch item, and this particular one is referred to as a Garth. No, it's confirmed.
I sent Ron a link to join if he wanted to.
Okay,
but he may be busy.
He may be. If he joins, that'll be fantastic. I'll let him tell the story because he does a much better
I figure
job.
he can explain the computer a little bit better.
Oh, there you go. So maybe I'll hold off in case he does join. So anyway, what else did I get at VCF Midwest? One of the most exciting things that I got was from Eric. Besides the guider counter, Eric provided me 2 exciting things. A guider counter. Yeah, there you go. That's one way to put it. It's a mail relief cloth.
Oh, mail relief. So you don't get bills in the mail. I like that.
Right. But spelled like
yes,
the human.
yes.
Eric also brought me his. Hey, John. Brought me the. Oh, there's Ron.
Up. Hello. Hello, Ron.
Hey, Brian.
Brian. Brain. Call me Brain. Yeah, Eric brought me my Sony Mavic camera, which I was super stoked about. I had bought from him, and it was new in box. I felt so bad opening it this week because it was sealed and it was.
I still haven't opened mine yet.
Oh, it's the battery definitely will not work. It lasts about 4 minutes. So I went on Amazon.
I'm actually powering my entire house from it, so I don't know how you ended up with the one bunk battery, but.
But yes, no, it ended up. I just ordered. They still sell them on Amazon. I got 2 brand new batteries and a USB charger for them for like $40 shipped. It's Rob of Rob's Container.
We're gonna review all the latest storage containers this week.
Oh, that's awesome!
Love it.
Are you going to review the new Costco system, which is actually pretty baller? Have you seen the new Costco storage system?
No, I've not seen that.
So it's like the wire racks that they sell, but instead of having shelves, they just have runners, and the Costco tough bins slide perfectly into the runners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like $69 or $79, and it comes with 6 bins.
Interesting.
Or you could trick out a whole garage or a whole storage. Like I'm thinking about it for like retro computer storage. It'd be on point, and it's not like going to break the bank.
That's way cool.
Yeah. I saw a review, oddly enough, on the internet of them. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They were storing craft stuff in it. I said, replace craft with retro computer, and I'm interested. And Joe is actually building shelves right now. Actually, earlier we were on a chat together, and I noticed the vacated area, Ron, where you used to live, is now being used for shelving.
Yeah, the reporting of my demise has been greatly misrepresented. Actually, all I did was just dig another 40 feet out into Joe's yard and just moved all my stuff out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't install an above ground pool, I should be fine.
No parking heavy equipment on Joe's lawn.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, that would be good.
So, Salupy, when you go to pick up your computers, don't park your van on the lawn.
That's right.
Okay. Not
one of the best things about VCF, or one of the fun things, is the free pile, and I feel as though I'm not sure if the free pile was overhyped to me in the past, and I feel a little like let down by it, or if it actually was a bit of a letdown this year. I don't know,
Ron, different.
Yeah,
it was different than previous years. I will say this: what was nice about it in previous years is that people would basically just sort of like, at the beginning of the show, they had their stuff to dump, and they would just put things out there, and then people would pick those things up and then, kind of like scurry away. And this year it seemed like people were going back and going back and going back and like constantly just doing, okay, it's been another 10 minutes, go through and find the next thing. And
cultures.
And people kind of broke the rules this year too, because one of the main things that it says is that you're not allowed to cannibalize stuff out there. And so people were dropping off machines, and then there's other people coming back behind them and pulling the hard drives out and pulling the motherboards out and just leaving a case. Well, that's obviously, unless you find the exact right person, that's just going to end up in e-waste. And so I feel that it was not great that people were kind of bending the rules on all that type of stuff.
That's not cool.
And there were people that were just going right up to the pile with carts and just indiscriminately pulling things and pulling stuff back, and then they'd leave, and then they would come back later and dump part of the stuff back on there. No doubt after they had tested or stripped things and all that. So I do think that those things were kind of ran contrary to, kind of the spirit of the free pile. But
I mean, I was a little disappointed in it because not that I expected to get anything, because I wasn't planning on taking anything home, but I just wanted to see this awesome, collection, if you will, of random stuff.
Right.
I did pick up a few things though. I don't know why, but I got a Radeon 5450 new inbox, not used.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
I opened it. So
You were the one that opened it. Oh,
yeah, I was the one that opened it. One of the other things that was neat that I didn't get to experience was the somebody dropped off a bunch of big box PC games, like in a bunch of boxes, and
in a
apparently
big box.
yeah, but they all disappeared in several seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
you have to be over there. And I know that Garth like spent a bunch of time because he would go and do stuff, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how a lot of people do it. Then they'll filter back over to the pile and just take a look, see, and see what's changed, and then pick up a few things. But I will say that last year the free pile was pretty amazing. This year was kind of disappointing.
Yeah. So hopefully next year, and maybe they'll be able to put somebody on the pile to kind of monitor some of that stuff, or at least help curb some of that stuff. Garth says I got stuff for others for the free pile this year, but nothing for myself. So yeah, and Garth was kind of I saw him running back to people and saying, "Hey, there's this over there, or that over there, or hey, are you interested in this?"
Yeah.
I found Eric a lovely Unix tutorial book that he was excited about. So
that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was good. All in all, fantastic experience. I plan on coming back for 2024 or 2025. I look forward to it. I hope it's a much bigger event. 2 days almost seems like it's not enough. I don't know if you feel the same way, Ron. It's like
the size of the event, there was no way to see everything.
Yeah, like I'm watching people's videos now, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. Like the Apricot computers, had no idea they were there.
Well, be glad you didn't go over there because I heard that was one of the plague stations of the.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, nobody's fault. It's everybody gets con crud, but
yeah. But yeah, and there was some stuff like what else did I didn't get? I didn't get to see the YouTuber panel. I forgot that was happening. So there's a couple of things that I missed that it was kind of like, oh, I wish I had time to. So I don't know how people with tables do it, because you guys seem
they don't
absolutely
That's the thing.
chakra blocked with people just coming to talk to you.
Yep. I didn't get away hardly at all. If I did, there was a couple of times Eric was really nice. He brought like little let's see. Oh, I had it sitting here, but it's not sitting here right now. But just a little will return at such and such a time.
Right.
And it seemed like if you put that out with like a 30-minute block or something that you could run and go and come back, that would absolutely be the time to be like, oh, well, before you take off.
Yeah, right.
I've got a 45-minute conversation about something. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to people. That's the whole reason why you're there. But yeah, there are some times where you're just like, oh, I just need to get away to use the little Max room.
Yeah. And did you find your voice was gone by the second day?
Oh yeah, I absolutely. I went upstairs. Somebody had a recording studio set up in their room, cranked out like a whole album of brand new Tom Waits songs. It was great.
That's awesome. I thought, I didn't really know what to expect going in. I didn't know, if meeting you people, I assume you people, I know, yeah. Meeting you Americans, if it was going to be a fun time, or if, your internet personas were just a lot nicer than your actual real life personas. You don't know these things. You're a little apprehensive. But I can confirm that in real life, everybody is as genuine as they seem in the not real life. And, I can't wait to see you all next year. And I hope everybody else, like, there are people I wish I was like, I really wanted to meet John from Big Bad Biologist. He obviously couldn't be there. Sloopy, I wanted to meet you. So I'm hoping for next year, some of these people that didn't get to be there will be there. That way we can all.
The only person that I've noticed that's not the same in person as you see them online.
Yeah,
is this guy here.
Oh,
Jedi. He is 10 times nicer in person
than
he is online.
Oh, really?
And I can't stress that enough.
My experience has been that because I showed up because he said, meet me at, Motel 72 off of Interstate 5. And when I got there, he had blonde hair and like strange ideas, and I was just like, this is really weird, but I still had a great time, Frank. Thanks.
Did you order your Frodo Jedi from Temu?
I ordered him on Wish.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that was one of the. Rudy asked if everybody understood me with my Canadian accent. I think that's one of the things I was surprised by. A lot of people said, "You don't really have an accent. Where's your accent?" I was like, "Oh, it's there. Just get me excited about something, and it'll pop out."
Yeah.
Curtis, keep that stuff over there.
Oh my, Curtis. We're only 41 minutes into the show. We've had 2 mentions of male gratification.
No. Oh no.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got one of my favorite things I got is this right here from one Ron's computer videos. Apparently I got it because I came the farthest, which at first I thought it was like, oh, I was from the farthest place, but then that statement makes even more sense when you know what this particular thing is called.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I thought Ron just gave up and threw the towel in.
No. But yeah, it was great. One of the coolest things at the show I really enjoyed was meeting Mackie. I can confirm Mackie is real, and he does talk, and he is very much alive. He is very sentient and aware of all the current world issues and affairs that are happening in the world. So, if you wanted to talk to someone about Israeli-Palestinian relations, he was fantastic. He had some very in-depth knowledge on those particular topics.
I was going to say, he's got some very interesting opinions about the Federal Reserve.
He does, yes. Yeah.
Is he like the Banana Junior 6000? Hack the Pentagon?
I don't know if it's that bad, but
yeah, I don't know if he's that bad. I don't expect to see a "Don't tread on me" sticker on the back of Mackie anytime soon.
Or is Mackie the in the Federal Witness Protection Program and was actually the Bananas Junior 6000?
So I have a theory that Mackie was actually an enforcer for some mob because he's Mackie the Thumbs. But
yes,
yeah, he collects thumbs.
Pazzo Jr.
Yeah, yeah, the Gambino crime family. CDI says just don't ask for lotto numbers. Just don't ask them to give you lotto numbers. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I got a couple of other things. I honestly brought more and gave away more than I took back, which I think sort of in my mind was sort of the spirit of the show. I know Ron had a really cool thing at the beginning before we were all standing around the tables. Yeah. Most of the booths were kind of set up, and then Ron was like, "What do you call it? Like the friend time or?"
It was 2 things kind of on Friday, and the first one was Friday Frogs, right. Whereas basically I bought like a metric ton of Kermit the Frog stickers and stuff off Amazon and gave everybody Friday Frogs, and then had the friend free pile.
Friend free, that was it. Yeah.
Where it was basically like instead of putting up my exhibit, I put all of my free things up on the table. So I had like a couple of CRTs, I had a couple of old Macs, I had a pile of Power Books, I had just like a ton of Apple II software, and then I had a box that was nothing but 5 1/4s, 3 1/2s that, just who knows on them, but if you just need discs. I had a bunch of Apple II cards. I had just like box stuff, everything. And it was like, everything must go. And so I had people go through, and everybody kind of got their fill, and I had just a few items left. Well, I brought a cart from home that I picked up at Aldi, and I loaded the cart up. And then with the last few items, I just kind of went out into the show and located the kind of other people that are like friendly with our group and everything. And so gave all the rest of the stuff away. And I ended up with like one little item that I had left, which was like an Acer, sort of like a dual core AMD machine, like nothing very fancy. But if you just need something to throw Linux on, or a kid wants to play around with like some software, you could play old games, whatever. And so there was a guy who came over who I've seen in a couple of shows, but I've never been properly introduced to. And he kind of was at my thing. He was kind of leaning it back, and he's looking at the sticker, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, my parents had one of these. It's so amazing." And he's kind of looking at it, and I said, "Hey, could you lift that up by about 6 inches?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, sure." So he picks it up. I just took the cart and went,
Yours now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, as far as the question Rudy asked, did anybody get sick? I don't know if anybody in our group did get sick. I didn't.
No. I did not get sick. I don't think anybody in our group
I don't
got
think
sick.
Joe got sick. I don't think any. I mean, other than people that were already sick when they got there, but that's unrelated to having a cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like
Certainly.
The sick in the head count?
correct. That's what I'm referring to. But yeah, it was great. And then the sort of Sunday was really nice because it was a bit of like a wind down. It seemed like a lot less stress. There was a lot less people, which was nice. At Saturday night we had the Jeremy's Retro Bar, kind of like social, and we had drinks in the. That was a really nice thing about the hotel. Actually, they had a lot of space to go out after you were done and just kind of hang out and chill. There was a fireplace. There was like two or three areas with just chairs. There was like a couple of tables. Like it was a very hangout friendly kind of place.
Was there a lot of people there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because usually in years past, there can be anywhere from 30 to 60 people in the hangout.
Mm-hmm.
I would say on Saturday night there was probably, I don't know, Ron, would you say there was 60 or 70?
I would say Saturday night again is like the big night, just because that's when everybody's kind of like riding that high from the show. There was probably 60 or 70 people floating around. Sunday there were fewer people, and that's just because that's kind of how that goes. But it was a good time. There was a lot of people that showed up, and Jeremy and Megan from Jeremy's Retro Bar, they had a little thing set up there making old fashions for people. They were just being nice hosts, and it was cool to sit there and see everybody. Someone had a terminal that they were repairing, and they just had it on a cart and brought it down, and we're kind of working on it and chatting, and
that was
sounds like
forgot machines.
Oh, AJ, yeah. Sark or AJ would be the two people that would be notorious for those things.
And to answer CDI's question, yes, I brought ketchup chips.
Yes.
I wonder how they compare to hers.
Huh?
Hers. It's a regional brand that actually makes ketchup chips.
We don't know her, so
I don't know hers.
Can't really comment on it.
Yeah, they're in the greater Philadelphia area.
They're around the end of the aisle. They have their own display.
Yeah, 250 to 300 miles from Philadelphia. Their actual factory is about 12 miles north of here.
Okay, cool. So it was Saturday night. Was, like I said, it was a bit of a whirlwind. We had a lot of fun. I think I went to bed around, I want to say 2:30 Chicago time.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, 2:30 a.m. Chicago time.
Yeah, it's still pretty early. I
think
everything ran until like about 3:30.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, you know what? We have to be up in like
5 hours.
Yeah, like in no time at all. So it's probably a good plan to get to bed.
Yeah, and then it was really nice. One of the really cool things that I really enjoyed as well was there was no real plan for dinner or for breakfast. It was kind of like somebody would say, "Hey, we're going to have breakfast here tomorrow. We're going to have dinner here. Are you interested in going?" And so I got to go enjoy the deep dish pizza, which was phenomenal. We got to have breakfast at the local restaurant inside the hotel. I'm trying to remember the name of it. The Public House, the Stromberg Public House, I think it was called.
Yes.
And that was really good. And then on, I think it was Sunday, we went to the Galloping Ghost.
Yes.
Which was mind blowing to say the least. I've never seen. Like I couldn't fathom what 1,000 video game consoles look like in my head, or arcade machines. Sorry, arcades look like in my head. Yep. But you were literally walking. I felt like I was in the back rooms, like one of these horror movies, because you'd walk down a hallway of sort of like some of the CRTs were worn, some of the machines didn't make the right noises, but you would walk, and you might walk down one aisle and not see a single person. It was just kind of eerie, and what a great, fantastic place. And I got to play some games I've never played before. Myself and Steve from Mac 84 and his wife and Thomas Armstrong. Not Thomas Armstrong. Thomas. Oh God, why am I forgetting his last name? Barber. Tom Barber. We played this armadillo.
Because you said Thomas.
Yeah,
it threw me off too.
I know. I was wait a minute.
I was
No,
like
Tom.
Thomas.
Yeah,
Tom Barber. We played this this armadillo racing game where you had to roll this like giant ball in the machine to make the armadillo roll, and I was like, somebody actually made this game en masse, I might add, in the early 2000s, and sold some of them, I assume. It was a very strange game, but it was a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a good bit of fun. Ron, I know you had to play some games that you hadn't played in a while, I guess. Or
well, there were a few that I wanted to play that I had never had an opportunity to play at a real cabinet.
Right.
And kind of the main thing. Well, I'm a big Donkey Kong person, so I went through on the Donkey Kong cabinets and cleared all the high scores. They weren't they don't have a battery cell kit, so it doesn't take a whole lot, but it's basically I went in and I cleared on Donkey Kong 3, Donkey Kong, and then Donkey Kong Jr. And there was a young lady that came in after me and pulled up a chair, and she sat there and cleared all of the scores except for my highest. I was like, hold on, because I heard her over there point pressing and doing stuff, and I was like, okay, this lady's serious. I'm not gonna mess with her. But they did have, but those are kind of more common. But
yeah,
they did have a dragon, or I'm sorry, they had Dragon's Lair. Mm-hmm. They had Dragon's Lair 2. They had Space Ace. But there are a couple of other ones that were made by Stern that are less common. So they had Cliffhanger, which is another Laserdisc game that is based off of a couple of Lupin the Third movies that were kind of edited down and made into a game. And I think I played it maybe one time in 1983 or something when it came out, and at that point I was a little kid, so those were some of the first games that required 50 cents to play. So it was if you didn't have a lot of pocket change, it was kind of a big deal to have those experiences. But now you can go to a place, they got the machine, and it's just on free play. And so I sat there and just beat the whole game. A perfect score is 1.8 million, and I think I ended up getting, and when I say perfect score, that means that you made all the right choices through the entire game. It did not have to replay any segments. No. I think I got 2.4 mil. So I had to replay some of the areas a couple of times to kind of learn all the moves and stuff. But but it was really, really fun. And I got a high score on the machine and all that. But it's a high score, but it's not really a high score. They're looking for perfect games.
And then it was the little Mexican restaurant we went to afterwards. Was
real deal,
real Mexican.
Yeah.
What was the drink that you bought me? I had never had it before. Yeah, it was. You were you had to try this, right?
Yeah, you got to try it because this is a real. So and the thing was this. Originally, I was oh, there's a Mexican joint that's right down the street, or right across the street almost.
Yeah.
And they're oh no, it's closed. And I was oh, that stinks. So where's the next closest Mexican place? Because we had friends from all over the place. We had our Australian friends, we had our Newfie friends, we had Canadian friends. So it was let's go and do something uniquely Chicago, which, believe it or not, is a Mexican restaurant. So real deal Mexican restaurant down the street. Went down there. It was here's all the chips and things like that, but then they bring you the setup where they bring you, oh, here's some tortillas and some butter, and here's a little plate with stewed oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Peppers and onions, and then some carrot, gordina and stuff like that. And I was wow, this is really, really great. This was just kind of a nice surprise. And
then your food showed up.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had people in the group because there was a little bit of a language barrier.
Yeah.
And I think that some of our less worldly people ordered their food multiple times because the waitress would be it'd be okay, what do you want? And he's and they'd be this is what I want. And then they would read back what's on it, because this is a table full of white people, and I'm not going to bring you something you're not going to eat or complain about. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what comes on this. What else? and they would just restate
The same thing
what
over
they
again.
had just ordered.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, well, I'll just write it down again, and I'll write it down again. So one of our friends ended up with 3 entrees.
Yep.
So
It was delicious, but
Yeah.
after eating all the table chips and all the stuff that came, and then I had this gigantic plate sat down in front, I was like, oh my god, I have to eat all of this? This is going to take forever.
you don't have to,
I know.
but they are watching.
They are watching, and they are hoping you like it.
Right.
But it was really, really good and thoroughly enjoyable. And actually, I got to have my favorite memory of VCF was at the Mexican restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Our friends from Juicy Crumb, is that correct?
Yes.
The Australians,
Yep.
yeah. They're Australian, obviously, and I happened to have all the cutlery next to me, and so the one of our Australian friends asked me if I could pass the knife. Well, of course, I had to say that that's not a knife; that's a spoon.
Right.
And it was by far the best. Like, I've waited. You don't
Mhm.
understand. I've waited how long? 37 or 8 years of my life to be able to have that interaction with an Australian person. I've met many Australian people, but that ability to have that interaction never has arisen until exactly what at that Mexican restaurant. So thank you,
I
Ron,
see
for
you've
setting
played
that up.
Knifey Spoony before.
And he said it, and I was like, okay, thank you. I am completed. Thank you. I'm going to go home for the night. And to answer Rudy's question, Javier did not join us for that supper. So I can't tell you.
Javier was busy. He was doing his own stuff. So.
He was flat out. He was, and that was the kind of cool thing is like we got to see a lot of our friends, but it was kind of cool to see some of the stuff that they were working on again in real life. Like to see some of the stuff Javier's like I had to use some of the mice that he has, and actually I brought one of the Amiga, the new Amiga mice back to Canada with me for 1-Bit Fever Dream. He actually got that on Friday. I think it finally arrived for him.
Nice.
I mailed it back to him, but yeah, he's very happy with it. It's a very cool optical, it's a new creation for anybody who doesn't know. It's a new tank mouse for the Amiga, but it has an optical sensor in it, and it's all 3D printed, and it looks like the old one, but functions like a more traditional new mouse. And he offers them for the Apple as well as the Macintosh and the Amiga. And the Commodore, I guess it probably would work with the 64. Cool. Other than that, I think it was a fantastic time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will be back. The other thing that I picked up, which is really cool about VCS, is right across from where our tables, and when I say where our tables, I was just hanging out with the guys. There was a guy selling, and I didn't get his name. I wish I caught his name. The guy, was it Nathan? Selling all the Macintosh computers right next to us.
Oh.
It was so your table, and then it was Dana, and then it was
is it around
Action Rescue, and yeah, it was on the other side after
around
Action
the other side?
Rescue.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. Mm-mm.
Anyway, I needed a board for my Power PC 7200, and I got a brand new board.
Nice.
And it was $5. So
wonderful,
right? Perfect. I'm very happy with that. And that was worth the, I would not find this where I live. This would not be something I would just come across in the wild. I mean, maybe I would, but can't count on it. So yeah, that was my VCF experience. I don't know if anybody has any questions about VCF, but it was really easy to get to. The Uber were fantastic. I Ubered from the airport to the hotel, and that was super, super great. It was very easy to get around. I'm sure we didn't go into Chicago proper, but I'm sure I didn't miss out on a whole lot.
You went to Brookfield,
yeah.
which is, Chicago-like.
Chicago-esque?
Chicago-esque. Suburb-esque. It's
suburb-esque. Yeah, okay. Is that where the Galloping Ghost is?
Yeah, that's where Galloping Ghost.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, other than that, today I actually got a pile of Mac stuff that I'll show real quick. And I got one really cool thing here I had to show Sloopy. The gentleman that I had been getting a bunch of stuff from, he called again and said that he had another load ready that he wanted us to come pick up. So we went to pick it up. I got this thing. And it might excite Steve, actually, because it's scuzzy. But it's a 1.5 gigabyte hard drive. And it weighs 25 pounds, thereabouts. It was made in 1992. But the neat thing is it came out of an Apple server. So I'm not really sure what it had in it. They were running just a Mac, some Mac desktop as a server, and they had this jammed inside it.
Oh, is that a Micropolis branded drive?
It is a Micropolis, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the server was probably like a Mac 2.
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Of that era. That's way cool.
Yeah, so I don't know what's on it. I don't know if it works. I don't know. I guess plug it in and see what happens, I suppose. Not really sure what the plan is for it, but I figured Steve, if anybody I know, Steve would be excited about weird, big, scuzzy things.
Steve loves weird stuff.
He does. He does.
And
I like it too.
Loves carrying it home.
He does. It's true. I was slipping things into his box the entire weekend. I got this in a brand new in a box today. I'm going to try this new thing out called the Internet.
Ooh, I've been hearing a lot of good things about that. Let me know.
And apparently this is the Macworld Editor's Choice for May of 1999.
Wow.
So, wow. This might interest Ron. I don't know. It might. It might not. I got a bag of mice.
Oh, Apple mice.
But
Neat.
one of the coolest things is I got really excited because I saw a black mouse in the bag of Apple mouse. And you know what I thought?
Right, yeah, sure.
Next cube. All right. No.
Oh,
no.
I would think like a Mac TV or something, but what is that?
It is an ADB keyboard or ADB mouse.
Mouse?
Yeah, it's called a fancy mouse.
That's who makes it?
Ooh.
Sickos?
Oh, sickos.
Came out in the 4th month of 92, it says on the bottom.
That's really crazy.
But like, look at it's got the feeling of a ThinkPad. That's
Mhm.
the best way to describe the but it's all sorts of
Actually,
weird.
I'll tell you what. I Googling around. I guess they made them for Amigas and stuff as well.
Okay.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, it's a Sickos fancy mouse down in the right-hand corner.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But I was excited because I thought it was a Next mouse, not going to lie.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, a Next Cube mouse. That's exciting. Or a Next Slab mouse. Anyway, so I got a bag of mice, which I was very excited about because you always need more ADB mice.
You can
always
never have enough.
You can never have too many. Especially if you're like me and you have more keyboards than you do mice.
Yes.
Now I have equal mice keyboards. This was the other thing that I got, which I thought was kind of neat. It's a Kensington mouse, but for Macintosh.
Oh, yeah, neat.
Pretty sweet.
And it's brand new. It's in pristine shape. It just doesn't look like it's ever been used.
Yeah. Is it ADB or is it USB or
ADB.
Oh yeah, cool. You might. What's the model number on it?
It is a. I just noticed real quick that it says Windows 95 copyright on the bottom of it, which is funny because it's probably the same box for. Let me get the model number. It's on the bottom. Comes with the MouseWorks software.
That's always nice.
But that's you see how clean and pristine it is.
Yeah, it's just a roller mouse, right?
Just roller mouse. It is a Kensington Mouse ADB version, model 64205.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes you pick those up, and they did make a few that were that actually had that were optical.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but they only did it for just a hot minute.
Yeah, I suppose by that time they were moving back over to USB mice at that point.
Yeah, everything was moving away from the old stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, it was some cool stuff. We're going back. There's a pile of software I have to get next. There's like 30 box copies of Quark Express.
Nice.
Yay! I got a bunch of these, which I have no idea what I'm going to use them for.
Mm-hmm.
They're the
Oh yeah, I picked up.
Oh, those are cool. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they're the what's it called?
AAUI with the BNC connection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boots
Yeah.
with the fur. Yeah.
Boots with the fur. Yeah, yeah. It's the AAUI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thick port.
Because Apple could not just leave it alone.
No, they had to have their own special.
Yeah.
Chummy.
Well, I can't sell you something if you can just go and just buy it yourself, I guess.
So I got 3 or 4 of those. If anybody out there in Internet land needs one.
Mhm.
You're more than welcome to have it. The Power PC G3 that I picked up, he thought he had the plate to fix the front of it,
Yeah, nice.
and he did. So
Wonderful.
he found the plate, which is very nice. And then these are really cool. I've never actually owned one of these before. I'm sure Ron has 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, those are great. I have one set because I've given all the rest of them away.
Okay. Are they good?
No, but
No?
they're nice. They look the part.
Okay.
I think that they don't have like a dedicated worker or whatever the proper term is. They have like a tweeter. The tweeter's great.
Yeah,
mostly it's very heavy on the
the mid, the treble, and the mid.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got 2 sets.
Not real basic, but they're great. I mean, they're Mac-like things.
Yes.
They're nice little speakers. They look really cool next to your Color Classic.
So yeah, I was going to ask, like, what did they come with, or are they just like optional extras?
It was just something you could buy.
Okay. And then remember those switches I was giving away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the VCF? Well, I got 2 more.
Oh, nice. You can never have too many.
Yeah, these are 5-port though, not 8-port.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only downside, but they fit the part, and they are in fact switches and not hubs.
Yeah.
So,
well, Ryan, what did you want to do there that you didn't get to do?
Well, that's a good question. I would have liked to see the YouTuber panel, only because I've watched a couple of them, and it's all the same questions. Like I get that it's kind of boring, or maybe it's boring to the YouTubers. Just I like seeing sometimes you get oddball, weird questions that are kind of fun to see them. I just wish maybe I could walk around more. Like I could have. There was something locking me to one place, but it was just when all your friends are in one corner and you can't really they can't get away because they got a booth. You kind of hang out with them and you help them out, and so it was kind of. I kind of stayed in my own zone there, and I wish I just had a chance to walk around more. But by the end of the day, too, my feet are shot. I'm sure. I think Eric said that next year he's bringing a mat to stand on. Right.
Yes.
I think that's actually very. I think you should do a follow-up video of top 10 things for VCF 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a good plan of here's now we're at the new venue. This is how you better prepare for the new venue.
Yeah.
The old venue is make sure you have something to drink.
Right.
Make sure you have water, because that other place, they literally have one water fountain on the first floor.
Right.
And it's located way up by registration.
Right. And
so it's you get kind of parched out there during the show, but
you're in the desert looking for water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Food wise, it was really good. I enjoyed the restaurants. I heard mixed reviews of the actual marketplace food kiosk, and the fact they only had it open one day was kind of weird. Yeah. So I would say bring food with you if you plan on staying at your booth.
Yes.
Bring a snack, bring whatever, but because the food at those places was very, it was very food trucky, deep fried grease,
Well, they did have a lot of that there. They had warmer trays. They had churros and fair food kind of stuff, and corn dogs and hot dogs and hamburgers, and it was all that quick grab go stuff. They did have, if you could walk past that, and as if that makes sense to anybody that wasn't there, but it was just sort of like a horseshoe. But they had a little freezer, or not freezer, but refrigerated case there that had salads and had, they had all kinds of other food that was in there too. Cause I had a grilled mahi-mahi sandwich.
Oh,
I was well, if I'm going to die, it might as well be having gas station tuna, right? Right. But it was the sandwich was really good, and it was just, you could tell. They've got very fancy facilities there. It's a 4-star hotel. Yeah. So it came out of the kitchen and went down there, and it was just freshly prepared that day. I looked at all of the little born on dates on it, and it was all made that morning.
Right.
They had a nice selection of drinks that wasn't just necessarily soda. They had tea. They had little coffees and things like that. My only complaint about the food, they only had one register open.
Right.
They really, and there were times of the day where that line got pretty slow.
I feel like they were underestimated how big it was going to be.
Yeah.
but at least it was only the food, right? Like they
Yeah.
could have been like the space, because I think they
Mhm.
talked briefly. I think we talked about this too, that they were actually only going to use half or a quarter or
Yeah.
3/4 of the
Mhm.
space we had,
Well,
and then it
it's
was
we ended up occupying 3/4 of the total space. Originally,
right.
it was going to be half, and this is just secondhand that I've gotten from people that are on that committee for that event that were just like, originally we were gonna. Yes, actually somebody asked me like, "How's the sandwich?" I was like, "Yeah, they gave me like a little black cracker that turns out it was a tomato."
Yeah,
But but the um,
it
but
came over on the sandwich.
yeah, my father would came over on the sandwich.
Sandwich.
I was born here. But the uh, it was just that originally they were going to rent half of the total amount of space,
Right.
and the problem was they were going to have to turn away something like 50 or 60 tables, and so they were like, "This is exactly the situation we would have been at the old venue." And people are going to complain, they're going to be upset, and people have a bad taste in their mouth. Our first year at this like next level venue, and so at considerable cost, I've not seen figures, but the words considerable cost.
50% size increase.
Yeah, so they added a little bit more, and I honestly next year they could fill the rest of it.
I
No
think
doubt.
so. Like at peak times,
Have a good
you
one,
didn't-
Rudy.
See you, Rudy. At peak times, you didn't really notice it, but the place was
Hey, Veronica.
packed.
Hey, Veronica.
Hey, Veronica. The place was
Yeah.
packed. Like it was
Hi,
wall to wall people.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that on Saturday morning, like there was a point, like it's supposed to open at 9, around 8:45 or so. Like I think that there was a lot of people out in the hallway. They might have opened up a minute or two early. I don't know for sure, but the push of people that came in, and I'm not joking. It wasn't one of those things where people get like bogged up in the beginning. I think people realized that it's because the old venue, it's very narrow. I mean, you'll have a Ben Heck or you'll have Veronica or you'll have like Dave Murray or somebody like they're trying to look at things. They get out in the hallway and they get mobbed. There'll
Right.
be like a little amoeba of friendly
Entourage.
computer
Then
fans
it's a traffic jam.
that will and it makes a traffic jam at the
Yeah.
venue. And the new place did not seemingly have that
No.
as a problem too much because people could figure out how to kind of get around. And some of those bigger areas they built in like on the outsides, they built in little pockets
Little
with the
notches, yeah.
tables where you could have kind of conversation areas and
Yeah.
stuff. And so I think that worked out really, really well.
That's
I
pretty cool.
agree. I think it was really good, and the fact they put I don't know if they did it purposely, but they put all the we'll call them big YouTubers at the end of the room, and if they had to, those exit doors could have been opened, I guess, and they could have had lines going out by the wasp dumpsters.
Yes,
if I
the
remember.
wasp dumpsters.
Yeah, the wasp dumpsters.
I got rid of all my white Anglo-Saxon Protestants while I
I
was
did
at the
too. It was great. They had
Yeah, it was just-
facilities. You just had to separate them. They
I
just,
went
you know,
by there. I was like, somebody threw away a perfectly good white boy. Oh well. It's blocking.
But yeah, it was all in all, I think really good. I'm excited. I think, like you said, I think next year they're probably going to have to use the whole space. Would be my thought.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
We'll
right?
see.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited to go back. I think it was really nice. I liked staying at the host hotel. My only complaint about the entire thing. I love the tables. I think the layout was really good. I love the venue. I think everything flowed really well. I liked the break-off rooms that were just right there that you could organically go out in the hallway and kind of see what was happening. It maybe would have been good on the little horse or the little table layouts to have two egress exits.
Entrance,
Two entrance egress kind of thing, because there were times during the day where people were needing to come and go, and especially, I'm not saying that I'm a name or anything like that, but what I am saying is people came by and they were like, "Can I get a picture?" Or people came by. Stop. People came by and said, "Hey, show me this thing," or "Come out here and look at this thing, evaluate this thing," or "Walk over here and look at this deal and tell me this is a good deal." And I'm like, "Sure, no problem." And I had to get out from around my desk. I had to interrupt my neighbors, like 3 sets of neighbors, to kind of get past them to then get out. And if we had like additional in outs on those little things, it would make that easier, or at least you're not bugging the same person every time.
Ron, I think that once they start putting your mug on male needs towels,
Yeah.
like as exampled here, I think you're definitely a big deal at that point.
It's next
sure.
level. It's
It's
next
next
level.
level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
everybody has that privilege. For
Yeah,
sure.
no,
No.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's got real OnlyFans vibes, but that's fine.
Oh, it
It's got
does.
a
But that's in right now.
real Belle Delphine, feel to it, right? Ron Delphine.
Oh,
Ron's gonna be selling
Yeah,
bathwater. He's gonna be selling some bathwater later.
So speaking of next level stuff, like I'm
Hmm.
very interested in this Mac emulation board.
Oh.
So how did this come about? This is the first I've
there's-
seen it was today.
there is just and Veronica's right too. A map would be very, very helpful.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they did have like a little thing. They ran out really, really quick, and you could go online, but it's so massive. Unless you've got like a phablet phone,
Yeah.
it'd be really difficult to kind of track that stuff. But on Friday, going around putting out the things on the tables,
Mm-hmm.
it at least made sense because they put the table cards down, and it was just basically 1 through 16, and you could just like 1, 2, 3, 4, boop, 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 like lay out all the stuff for people. But if you were somebody that was just trying to look for one specific thing, it might be kind of difficult to just like
They almost
in
need,
the sea of samey kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
sea of
There were
beige.
people that had really nice signage up and things like that, but it's it was tough.
I think if they did kind of like what a parking garage does, maybe like label the lanes and like say this is Steve Jobs Avenue and intersects with Bill Gates Lane, and and it's maybe give the names or something, or put the section C, A, B, and have a.
I went the Disney route with it because I was like, hey, don't forget we parked in the Trenubrian Slime Devil lot over in the back.
Professor Hubert Farnsworth.
Yes.
But no, I agree. A map would be very helpful, and I think we talked about this too. They were talking about doing like PA announcements again, and we said that's kind of interruptive. But a bunch of like cheap 40-inch televisions or 50-inch televisions on the periphery
They
would
could
be
have
very
put that
helpful.
on an app, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm up to no good. Bing.
Yeah.
Too funny.
I am one of those people that enjoyed the announcements, and I know that there are people that there's two types of people in the world. There are people that are polite and let the GPS finish, and there's other people who just talk right over the GPS.
Right.
And I know that there are a lot of people that's brains get scrambled when those announcements come up. And so if you have a 30-40 second announcement, there's a lot of people that pause because they just out of just trying to be civil, that they just let that go.
It's 12 years of school have taught you that when you hear a bell and someone talk, you must stop speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I started uncontrollably salivating because the meal was coming, but I'm one of those people. I just stop, and then that erases my brain. And then this person that I was having this conversation with, I can't do it anymore.
You're like,
I'm like, what were we talking about? And they too had been wiped, and so it was just kind of like, well, I guess I'll see you back at the collective. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if even like we said, maybe some like televisions on the periphery with the announcements kind of there in text form, or even a schedule or a map that moves. I mean, I'm sure there's something we could, they could come up with.
They could do an
app. They did have an app previously, did they not?
No,
I feel
there's
no.
no app. There's a website.
Oh, maybe it's the website and you save it.
Well, you could connect to the BBS and get your announcement.
To the website, because they did have some there were some Wi-Fi issues and things like that there was cellular connectivity issues, because if you get that many people in a big concrete box and you shut the doors, it makes it rough to kind of look things up. So I had everything set up for ePay. I didn't bring any cash. I had everything set up for I had everything set up for e-payments, and then people couldn't pay. And I was just like, I said, you know what? These events are so much based on trust and friendship, and these are not high dollar items. This is not like $1,000 thing. I was, go for announcements. Yeah. I wondered what all that blinking ASCII was that kept going up. But I was like, so much of this is just based on friendship and trust and things like that. You know what? This is you know what? If this is $30, just go. I'll see you. I mean, just pay me when you can. If it's a day or two from now, whatever. Just make sure you pay your
tip your waitress
tollway fines and stuff. Just pay those for sure.
Was it you who had the post? Somebody had a post of their of the tolls they had to pay. Was that you?
It wasn't me, but
somebody in the Discord.
I didn't have very many. I had like $8 in tollway fines.
That's not too bad
because you pay ahead of time. Because the state of Illinois, it used to be that Chicago traffic. What would happen is people. You would go up to these little, when you would get on, you would have to pay a toll, which immediately blocks traffic because you're going from like 2 lanes to 6 lanes, and people are back there and they're just honking at you as if like the sound of their horn makes change magically appear in your ashtray. So, Steve got the website was blocked on his network, so you couldn't go out and pay. But anymore, what you do is you just go out and you blow through every one of the little toll plazas. You don't stop, just go right through them, and it takes a picture of your plate and give it about 24 hours. You go out to illinoistollway.com, and based on your license plate, it'll show all of your tolls. You have like 14 days to pay without any kind of penalty, and that's it. I think I went through, because coming up, I went through like 3 toll plazas. Coming back, I went through at least 2, because I think we took a little bit of a different way home. And even that was $8. It's definitely not like going through Pennsylvania. I would not go through Pennsylvania without Speedy Pass or whatever it's called out there, because I mean, it's literally
Easy
like
Pass.
$40 to drive through Pennsylvania. With Easy Pass, I cannot imagine what it would be as a penalty to not be part of their network.
$95, Bob.
You have to bring them an entire crate of pretzels. As payment.
But the good ones.
I got three different toll passes. I have the 407, the Canadian one. I have the Easy Pass, and then I have the Sun Pass for Florida.
Okay.
We use Florida, and I blew through a toll plaza down there. Like down there, it's like it was at night, and then
just flashing lights, yes.
And I was like, "Holy what?" And so when I got to the hotel, I asked him. I said, "Hey, what do I do about this?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. They'll just bill your rental car company." So I called the rental car company, and they're like, "Well, don't worry about it. We've got agreements with everybody. We'll just tack it on your bill." And I was like, "Oh, great,
awesome,
thanks."
Steve, you were a bit late, but I found this today. I thought of you when I found it. It's a 25-pound SCSI hard drive.
That is a large.
That's 1.53 gigabytes. It's from 1992, and you said it's a Micropolis.
Yeah, right? I thought you said it was Micropolis.
It is Micropolis. Yeah, it's right here. Micropolis. Anyway, it came out of an old Mac server. It's a chunk. It definitely is a chunk. That's for sure.
Dear D. Machopolis.
Yeah, but
dermatologist.
Ship it to Steve. Yes, I will ship it to Steve.
Ship it to Steve.
And
COD.
And Steve's wife will hate me one little bit more.
You know what? She's so nice.
She's so nice.
She was a good sport.
She was.
At all of these activities that went on.
Yes, Steve. We it was an old Mac server for our local radio station. So it may actually have some software on it that's not archived. That's why I thought of you when I got it. There could be old radio station software, Steve. Radio station software.
Know. Old sound bits.
Old sound bites. Could be.
Steve had a couple moments at the show where it was like, tangled, or it's like unlabeled medication, old magazines, tangled up Christmas tree lights. Okay, stay calm, Steve. Get it in the car before anybody notices.
Steve, you need that as a bumper sticker. That needs to go on your car. I will gladly accept your e-waste. Let's ship it to Steve live on his stream. Here's his address.
Dump it to Crumpet.
Get out of my dreams into my.
That's a good bumper sticker.
That's great. That's a great idea. Yeah, and then today, the only other thing I got today was a box full of. Well, I got some brand new floppy disks in package.
Never have enough floppies.
Can't have enough floppy disks. And then I got all the local talk and phone talk adapters I could ever want.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
Those are nice.
bags of them. Bags and bags.
Yes.
Bags
Bags.
and bags.
I see some couplers in there. Awesome.
And a Mac modem or Mac and
Oh
fax.
yeah, Mac and fax.
I don't know. I don't know what makes this a Mac and fax versus a normal serial or parallel modem from US Robotics, but I'm sure somebody will.
It's for the same reason that they sold pre-formatted
Floppy disks.
Macintosh floppies with the word Macintosh floppy or Macintosh formatted printed on them,
and charged slightly more for them.
Yeah. It's because people are just nervous. They don't know, and they want to be told what they want.
Right. And then for Steve's, so the guy that I got all this from is a bit of a hoarder. He loves to he kept everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have all this is the Mac and fax, all the materials that came with it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, because
they're called kindling, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So I mean, it's, you and I both
fire starters.
Fire starters. But anyway, I have a pile of telephone adapters now and actual Mac adapters. Oh, and I had one of these things, which Sloopy explained to me. The GeoPort.
Oh yeah, GeoPort.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he sent me one of those. I retrobrided it.
Oh, cool.
Those were kind of neat back in the day. It's well, not really, but it is. You remember, like on PCs, you had Win modems.
Yeah,
they're basically software controlled modems. That's what that is. So, but for Macintosh, and it's kind of funny because Macs at the time were not really well set up to do that unless you had one of the models that had specialty DSPs and stuff. So like the 840 AV, 660 AV, you could use it on Power Macs, but they were still slow and they were kind of limited. So I think the first model is like only 9600 baud. Oh, wow. And the second model I think purported that it was 19.2, but I think people's realistic speeds were closer to like 14.4.
Okay. So garbage is what you're saying.
They're
garbage.
Neat. It's a neat thing because it wasn't just like a modem. It was also that it was like fax. It had fax capabilities built in.
And did it come with software?
Yeah, there's some software for it, but it's and it was also like a voice modem too. So you could like have it if you have the right machine with a plain talk mic and stuff. The integration on it was kind of cool because you could nobody needs more than 640 baud.
Haven't you ever seen the movie Blank Check where he talks on that for the auction?
Yes.
Where he dials in from his Macintosh?
Yeah,
that's right.
So it's like a voice modem, and you could have it dial the phone. You could have a conversation through it, and
just the facts, man.
It was really, really neat at the time, and there were even some machines that they wanted to have compatibility with that were not, and you could plug it in because it has an extra pin in there for 5 volts. But yeah.
And then the other thing that I got that I think Steve would be very excited about, I already showed these guys, but I'll show you Steve because he just got here, is this new thing. I'm going to try it with my Mac. It's called the Internet.
Yes.
I've heard of that.
All right, so I assume this is very similar to the GeoTalk in the sense that it's a software.
Those are really cheap modems. They bundled them with everything. But I would say that since that's 56K, that it probably does have some real hardware inside of it.
Probably not, though.
Probably not. But I mean, it's a Geo Village or Global Village, rather. Sorry.
So it's like Global Talk, but worse. So that's all I got today. The only other thing I got is a really cool monitor I have out in the car. It's a 19-inch color monitor from about 1991, and it has BNC connections on the back of it. It's so it has RGB and vertical sync and horizontal whatever.
Nice. Ryan, did I show you my super cheap VCF Midwest find?
No.
What's that? Let's see.
Oh yes.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
$5 floppy notcher. They had
That's
several
awesome.
of them.
Oh,
I
that's
can't remember.
awesome.
I think I gave one of the other ones to Javier
That's awesome.
because he's starting out a floppy notcher collection.
Yeah.
And he goes, I said, well, you can pick one. The other one was kind of neat because it had like little notches in the back of it, like little scallops that were sort of set up where you could actually have this on your desk and stick a floppy behind it.
Oh,
I'm like, I'm not sure what the utility of that was, but it was just kind of neat. And so I was like, I said, well, would you like one? And he goes, oh, I'd love it. And I was like, okay, which one? And he goes, I don't have one like this. I'm like, there you
go. Steve says, stop tempting him with the useless modems. I won't. I will always tempt you with useless modems. You and Tom Barber are two people that just get weak when modems are around.
Yes, it's true.
Cool. Yeah. So that was my last 2 weeks. Last weekend I was on an ATV excursion, and I rode off my ATV. So I need to buy a new ATV.
Oh no.
No one hurt. Thankfully, we were heading up a mountain, and my control arms on my ATV became Bluetooth. They went full wireless, and the wheels folded under the ATV. So, anyway, long story short, it's time for me to replace my almost 20-year-old ATV. So I'm not too upset about it. Cool. So what else is going on in people's lives, Ron? What's going on with you? Is there anything else new that you can leak? Any new projects? You're the man of 1,000 PCBs.
Eventually we're gonna. Gutbomb and I are gonna make some announcements on things, but
yes, like when are the print files going to be available? Ron?
Not as soon as
when
we
the
can
print
do
files
our
are going to be available.
As soon as we can do our video. So it's I'm looking at it. It's back here on the.
I can see it. Yeah.
So.
And you had a lovely little cameo in Jeremy, or it was Jeremy's video.
Yeah. Jeremy's Retrobar did a nice video. Lots of people did a lot of nice videos, and I did like a very quickie. I think Friday setup video or something like that. Just in it was my phone was stuck in vertical, so I think it only got watched by people under the age of 40. So I went through and I just did like a real quick run through of kind of what was going on there on Friday night. And I think it's under 10 minutes, but I'm actually I've got all my footage. I didn't do a Saturday video this year because everybody and their uncle was running around on Saturday with gimbals and very fancy stuff and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a Sunday video where it's the wrap up day and just kind of show people kind of getting broke down and like when it was a little less crazy.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Because there was nobody doing stuff on Sunday.
No. My video will be done in about, looks at watch, I thought he was going to say a week and then not tell us which week. It says next week.
It'll be done when it's done.
I'm excited for the fact that I was in Dave Murray's latest video. I don't know if you know this. Awesome. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm pretty big star. Myself and the Canadian Computer Collector and his wife happened to be in the background of an overall shot of the VCF floor from Dave's video this week. So I'm moving up in the world.
I always, anytime I see Dave, and when he has his wife at an event, I always go up to her and I always say, "Thank you so much for getting Dave here. I understand that it's a lot."
Yeah.
And she goes, "You have no idea." No, she's very nice.
She's sweet.
Every time I was over there, like anywhere near Dave, he looked like he had been like just rang out.
Yeah, he looked tired.
Yeah. So and that's what I told her. I said, "Thank you so much for making the drive. I know it's a long way." I'm pretty sure that Kevin Texelek and him are very much, they go and do this stuff together because they share driving and stuff. And with a third, because I know that she's a big driver too. It's so Dave can be passenger princess and she can pick up that last 8 hour last 8 hour shift on the road.
And they came with the Tesla. I asked, I was like, "Did you drive the Tesla?" She's like, "Oh yes, we definitely did." So they electric car'd up from Texas, so that was kind of cool. I was going to say too, one of my favorite moments from the show was I gotta give props to Adrian. His ability to be so there in the moment with the fans and to be like only focusing on them. You're gone, are you, Frank?
I gotta hop off. Yep.
Okay. All right. See you.
I'll catch you guys later.
See you, Frank.
Yes.
Yep. Bye.
His ability to like be there in the moment with the fans and to be, you know, not there's 1,000 things happening outside, but to have focus on them and to really give them their time.
Yeah.
And not to be, you know, he's got to be tired, like after the whole day, you know, of doing that, but never shied away from it. So kudos to him. It was awesome to see, and his interaction with some, like, you know, there's some kids that are definitely there that are on the spectrum that are, you know, this is their thing, and to see them interact with some of their favorite YouTubers and to get excited about stuff was really cool. And I got to say, it was nice to experience that from a distance. You just watch it happen, but it was kind of, you know, makes you realize this hobby is fantastic for that kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
And then you have people like Steve from Mac 84 who just make you wish you weren't in the hobby anymore. Right.
Yeah. I just I went out there and there were a couple things that I was interested in, and Steve just came up and just like kicked me like directly in the ankle.
Yeah.
And I'm laying there with a broken ankle, and he's like over there, mine.
Yeah.
Just getting like all the things.
I don't understand if he understands business really well, because he was talking about how expensive it was to get his mouse pads, but then he just started throwing them at me. Like he was.
Hey man,
shit happens. I know shit does happen, right? Like it's. Sorry, I clicked on that again. And then this one, is this the lineup from 92 or 93?
It's just like the lineup from a number of years. It's just product lines,
right?
So,
but I feel like it's just it's not from a specific year. Well, when did the Newton come out?
I don't remember. It's a flash in the pan
for sure. Genius marketing. I saw it first, Ron. That's awesome.
Newton Masterpad 192.
92. Okay, so
was announced. 93 released.
Okay, so
discontinued.
93. Okay.
Yeah, it was not around a very long time.
No, it was definitely before its time. Would you say, or after its time?
I would say before its time, because there really wasn't there was a PDA market, but it was kind of fledgling, and the problem was the Newton was a very, very expensive device,
right?
Because it did a lot of next level kind of things, like with the Steve says the 93 lineup.
Oh, there you go.
So it was, but there was a lot of connectivity. You could modems, and the later units supported PCMCA for Wi-Fi, and there was like, the handwriting recognition was pretty great. A lot of the people from that ended up leaving and starting their own companies that maybe didn't have world-shattering products, but a lot of that technology was bought up by other people and ended up being used in other consumer electronics devices. So.
Right, like so Steve says Jobs killed the Newton when he came back. Looking back at where Apple did end up, I mean, it seems like if they killed it, they only came to do the exact same thing 10 years later.
Well,
in 2008, right?
I think they just had to wait until other things caught up, and it was part of that was more. You needed the business market is fine, but that's tough to grab. And it's a small market at the time for devices like that. And then you needed somebody else to kind of come along and tie the PDA to a phone. And that's where you have RIM with the BlackBerry. And that did well for a really long time. And then
you're welcome, by the way. You're welcome.
Yeah. And then thanks, Canada.
Yeah,
and then and then everybody else could be like, okay, well, wait, here's the shortcomings on this, which is the typing. The typing is a shortcoming, and kind of being locked into like a weird app infrastructure. And but even Apple got that wrong, because the original iPhone was like everything was going to be a web app. There weren't going to be no apps. There weren't going to be like dedicated apps. Everything was going to be a web page, and it's like you can't really do that on a little tiny device like this. And what happens if you're not near a cellular connection or Wi-Fi or something? So
I remember when the iPhone came out, I ordered one. I actually bought it because you couldn't get them in Canada. The first generation iPhone wasn't available in Canada for almost a year, I think, after the release. So I ended up ordering it from Hawaii. And it was a fun device, but then I realized like the shortcomings of it. It was 2G. It was slow as all heck. There were no apps for it. Like it was a cool at the time. It was cool, but looking back at it, you go, "Wow, that was a piece of crap."
Yeah, it wasn't especially great.
No.
And but again, it's like a lot of things. You have to have somebody that's gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know who said it, but it's it's pioneers get the arrows, settlers get the land.
Right.
So I think you have to have some of those products. You just throw it out there, and you know it's going to be a loss leader. You know it's just going to be basically to make a bold statement and figure out like who wants it and how to make it better and all that. But it's I think the iTunes store, kind of at the same time, iTunes was kind of like on its meteoric rise. It was it was just kind of there was a lot of stuff coming together at that point. But
it was and then you had like I think you also had to in my mind, for that to actually work properly, you needed the cellular networks to be capable of doing it, right? Like,
sure.
If you're looking back in '98, what's the best you could do on a cellular? You could do dial-up internet.
Yeah, I mean, it was
right.
Basic Edge. Some markets were still Edge. They weren't 3G yet. I mean, well, because the original one, it's 2G. It's like
2G.
iPhone 1, iPhone 2.
But I'm going back to like the Newton
iPhone
time.
3 is the Newton
time. Like in 98.
there was that you had to have a dedicated cellular card or something like that, and that stuff existed.
It did.
But then it also existed for things like the handspring or the Palm Pilot, and those devices were hundreds and hundreds of dollars less.
Oh yeah,
and had comparable handwriting recognition and things like that. So it's I don't know. I had a Newton back in the day, but it was only after Apple decided to start discontinuing some of those early models, because I think there were a deal in a lot of those magazines where it was like for $100 you could get Message Pad 100 with like a selection of like the base cheapy games like the Columbo Mysteries and a couple of other things that were like the shovelware titles for the platform, and then like a 2 meg card, the 2400 baud modem, and a case or something. It was like $100 in like $1994 or something like that. So it wasn't, or maybe even 95, I don't remember, but they closed them out and got those out of the market pretty quick to make room for like the more expandable later models, which were pretty nice comparatively. And then you've got the eMate 300 and stuff that ended up in education. It's sort of like a little laptop for kids that ran Newton OS. And
actually, our friend MDJ Michael did a video on the Newton or the eMate this past week. Little
I have an eMate. Yeah, I have an eMate. I work in ed, so I have an eMate 300 at work in my desk or in my my office on my shelf, and people often will come in and they'll be like, "Well, what's this laptop?" And they'll be like, "Oh, it's." I'll give you the
Cole's notes,
the taxi pitch of it, version of the story. But and then right next to it, I have a visor, which is one of like the clear or crystal. It's it's a Palm Pilot kind of thing. But I've got a couple of those, like, because that's the era of the translucent plastic and all that. So.
The prison Palm Pilot.
Yes.
I had my first Palm was a Palm Treo. I actually bought it. It was my first one of my first cell phones. So it was a 3G. I could get on the internet. I remember it was stupid expensive to use the internet on.
There was a lot of that stuff at the show on Saturday morning.
Yes,
there was a guy that had a thing that was like just a ton of different Palm Pilot stuff, and the stuff I'm mostly interested in is like the original, like the launch stuff. Like I'd love to find just the 256K base Palm Pilot. I remember when those came out, and then they started like the second gen, the 512K, and it had like IRDA and things like that. But they released a SIM upgrade for it, where basically like the original models, you could pop the back. There was like a little cartridge like thing, you think like a Game Boy or something, pop out the back. It was just a plastic cover, but there was like a SIM in there that had the OS and the workspace,
Right.
like flash memory,
Yep.
and then a little section for IRDA. And yeah, it was an upgrade for the original one. So I was so into it. I bought that upgrade, and then I eventually got like a Palm 3, and I got a Palm 3C, and
Cool.
you know. Yeah.
I like the Palm Pilot. It was an interesting ecosystem, and they kind of had some of their own like Apple-esque like escapades where they allowed clones for a while, where people could buy
you get other people.
Handspring, Handspring could sold the software, and right. I have a titanium new in box.
Yes.
The sort of I guess the last, if you want to call it the last hurrah of the Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
Right, because I think it came out in like 2020 or 2004, 2005. I think I want to say is the titanium that I have came out, and it has like a SD card or an SD card slot that you can like load a camera module into, much like the iPacs had. You can load a camera module into it, or you can load a GPS module to use GPS.
Well, that was the big thing on the Handspring models is they had a interface slot on the back of it that had like, here's a GPS module, here's a camera, here's a cellular internet, or here's a satellite internet, here's like some sort of like
barcode scanner,
barcode scanner, like everything. And there are people that go nuts and still collect all that, and I would love to see an exhibit of that stuff at one of these shows, because I think that handhelds are especially underrepresented.
Yeah, definitely, and like you said, it could be handhelds from everywhere, right? Because I'm sure there's probably iPad guys, people who love Windows CE,
so there's 3 people out there that love the Franklin Rex. If folks remember that was a PCMCA card with a LCD screen.
Yep.
Where it was like, there's all your stuff. You couldn't enter new things. You could just look at things on it. And then there was a dock for your computer. You'd plug it in and you could use the Rex software to update your information and things. But my CIO at work had one of those for years. Loved that little guy. He kept it in a PCMCA, little clear plastic PCMCA holder. He just had it in his pocket. He'd pull it out. He'd get it out of the thing. He'd do whatever you need to do.
I remember those. They were sold as a Franklin, but they were also sold. I think they were like, I want to say they were Sanyo or Casio. They were just a rebadged like Japanese product. Because someone did a video on them. It might have been Colin from This Is Not Computer. Somebody did a video on them, and I thought they were really cool. I never saw one growing up, but I was like, that would have been amazing to see in like 1994 or 1993, right? Like Absolutely. That's so cool.
I love that stuff.
What's Mac84 saying? I have a bin full of handsprings and rando palms with barcode scanners and silly things. Well, I think he's volunteering to do next year's VCF display of palm silly things.
There you go. Thanks, Steve. Veronica is like, I hope you find your power brick, because I love that stuff too. But I had an iPac for a while, basically for war driving.
Okay.
So you'd have an iPac, and you'd have there was a war driving app for it, and you have your Orinoco Gold and like an omnidirectional antenna on the top of your car, just driving around, seeing where the Wi-Fi was, seeing who had what.
I remember when I bought my first, I got my laptop when I went to university in 2004, and my parents bought me a Toshiba Satellite something or other. It was blue lid, black laptop. P4, but we put a gig of RAM in it. But I remember it came with a free wireless router. And can you guess what wireless router it came with? It was the standard Linksys Blue, what's the software? Open WRT compatible. That's what it came with. And I remember setting it up first. And I remember thinking when I set it up, I was like, do we need a password on my network? Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Probably a good call.
But everybody, I mean, for the first few years that I had wireless on something, it was not hard to walk around town and find many open and some very questionably open, like go to big businesses that shouldn't have open Wi-Fi, but they do. Right. So did you ever like do anything with your war driving? Were you, or just
no? It was just made a map just to see what was out there. It was purely white hat, because a lot of times you would, especially if it was a business or something, it's like it's you send a print job and just be like, your Wi-Fi network is open. You need to set a password, and basically it was like you'd print the page off of the whatever, I can't remember the name of this. It's been so long, but it was just sort of a like cheat sheet on how to lock down your Linksys router,
Right.
and all that. So
cool. Yeah, we used to sideload Sub-Zero. I think it was Sub-Zero, Sub-7. Sub-7. It was an app that was like the hacking app when I was a kid, and you would sideload it onto a JPEG image or a GIF image, and it would install this little thing, and you would be able to like send like flip the screen around on someone's computer, or eject their CD-ROM drive, or copy files back and forth. Right?
Oh yeah.
It was. It's interesting. I kind of miss. I would like someone to do a talk on like that type of. I don't want. It's not hacking. It's like teenage mischief in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, it was just digital exploration, just seeing what was out there, especially in the early days of like the cable modem networks and things like that, where it would just be like a flat network. And you could just see people's printers and
I was sending many print jobs to my neighbor's printers when they had DOCSIS 1, I think it was, first rolled out. I was like, going to home Microsoft or going to home networking or network homes or whatever was in Windows 98, and you were like, oh look, there's my neighbor's printer.
Yep.
I should tell them that you can see that, right?
You should.
Anyway, I think that we're just coming up on 2 hours, so I'm going to shut her down for the evening. But Ron, is there any last words of wisdom or pearls of enlightenment that you want to share?
Oh, I don't know anything about that. But what I would definitely say is that, like, I know that it's very, very easy to hear discussions about these big events and things like that, and have like a lot of FOMO. I will tell you that they're fun. They're exciting to go and attend, but what's even more exciting than that is finding people in your neck of the woods and forming these little pockets of fandom there that build and grow and can make new events that people that you don't even know yet are going to be excited to see. It might just be something as simple as putting up a flyer in the library, your local public library, seeing if you can get a room for a Saturday, and just saying, hey, this is going to be the retro computing meetup. Just see who shows up. And from there, form a club. Start small, start local, build something. Meet new people, make new friends is what I would say.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
And now we have 900 members.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah. And funny you should mention the library, but they invited us last year to do a geek event called Retro Show and Tell. And we're doing it again this year. So in October, we'll be performing a little show and tell at our local library. So libraries are important.
They are. If I was Trina, I'd have said library. Library, still. Yeah. For sure. No, but it's try to build local. Get a little group, even if it's only 3 people. That's 3 people that weren't connected before. Yep. And just see what you can do, and make sure that people don't cast the net wide. Don't make it's like, sorry, we're a TI-99A club only. You keep your weak TI-99 nonsense out at some other club. Like, be inclusive, get people in there, listen to their ideas.
Gatekeeper.
Don't be a gatekeeper. Try to find a way to share your part of the fandom with them. And I think everybody's life gets a little bit better, and then work together, because now you got people, you build some friendships and be like, hey, let's go to VCF Southwest next year, let's go to VCF East, wherever it is you might live. You got somebody that can relief drive with you or whatever, and go and do some of those things. So
I am considering driving next year. Just
East is a lot of fun. They have a nice little museum there, not just computer stuff, but also naval history, model railroading. Like they have the old. This is not the name of it, but it's the old timey radio museum. It's they have a lot of really cool stuff there.
That's awesome.
So I think they have another exhibit that's just dedicated to African American members of the Navy that were like first in whatever it was, like test pilots and and things like that. So there's a lot of like national history, regional history. And then there's also a computer event going on.
Right. If you also go to East, apparently you get stuck in Steve's shed.
Yes. You
Have you got out of there yet, Ron? I feel like you're still in there.
You know what? Actually, I'm signed up. I'm supposed to meet Carrie Elway there on Monday.
Oh, perfect.
That's a Saw reference. So
Yeah. Do you want to play a game?
yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I guess Ron, where can people find you if they need to find you on the internet? I mean, most people know who you are.
ronscompvids.com.
Okay. And what kind of stuff do you purvey at such a website?
Oh, it's just sort of it's like a list of where you can see all the other stuff I'm doing. It's YouTube stuff, my PCB projects, 3D printables that I've made, things like that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And you can get cool stuff like this at jcm-1.com.
Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty neat. And I don't have it sitting. Oh wait, I do, but hold on one second. I think here we go. Yeah, this is the next big thing I'm working on, which is they've updated the emulator where it does some new fun things, but it is a PC, or I'm sorry, I was gonna say PCMCA. I got PCMCA
wow,
on the
that's
brain.
impressive.
Yeah, it's SD card hat.
Oh, cool.
So that way that with the latest version of the emulator, you can put writable images on here. So a lot more things work, because as it sits right now, Mac Paint requires a writable disk for it to actually work. So it doesn't work on the stock thing, but with the latest version of the emulator, it does. So
cool.
Yeah, I made a cute little hat that sits on top for an SD card. Yep.
Hey, well, it's funny. Everybody seems to arrive. Hello, Kate. We're just about to end the show here now.
Nah, 2 more hours. It's fine.
We'll pull a train. We're going till the sun comes up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say where. But yeah, so that's awesome. And like you said, Ron, you can get Ron's projects at jcm-1.com. He's got lots of cool stuff.
Actually, I just got final confirmation on this little doodad that I made today. Ooh. This is Apple II. I got a lot of pushback that I don't have a lot of Apple II stuff, but this is a Apple II joystick multi-adapter.
That's exciting.
Basically lets you hook up all of your, assuming all, by all I mean 4, 2 DIP 16 style joysticks and 2 DE9 style joysticks, and basically there are a bunch of jumper blocks to let you set which potentiometers inside your joystick are active at any given time. So the idea is that you can mix and match between your joysticks. Cool. And as a neat little punch down, or not punch down, but a screw down block here at the bottom, you can make your own custom joysticks.
That's
so
cool.
This is just sort of a hackaroony kind of thing. Encourage people to experiment and do fun things.
That's exciting. Can you daisy chain them together?
I'm sure you could. The only thing I would say is that you have to keep in mind that the joysticks on the Apple II are analog. So they have, it's basically every time you lengthen the wire, you introduce a little bit of resistance. And so if you were to have too many of them, like if you were to link several of these together, perhaps you will have a situation where eventually the sensitivity of your joysticks will be reduced. But the base, you could have 4 joysticks simultaneously connected, not turned on at the same time, but simultaneously connected, and you'll probably be fine. So,
so that's a great option, I guess, for someone if they have a setup done on, like they have an Apple II set up on a particular desk, and they just want to have their joysticks there ready to go, and they can. Right.
Well, I kind of think about it that I own a few of these DIP 16 style joysticks.
Yeah,
and they're like 40 plus years old at this point. So the pins are weak.
Yeah.
And so the idea would be that you could plug it in, you can leave it plugged in, and then you just activate it when you want to use it, but still be able to have your other joysticks connected.
Yeah.
And then also, if you want to experiment, play around, you've got this breakout down here where you attach some potentiometers, some resistors, hook some buttons up. If you because kind of what I was thinking is, if you want to play like a driving simulator or things like that, you have to think the Apple II is basically loved breakout,
Right.
Pong style games. Those were the hotness in
Yeah.
1977,
Yeah.
know. So the idea is the Apple II, you would have two paddles. You'd have, one that's doing X, one that's doing Y, and then you got two buttons. And so you've got access to all of that. So if you wanted to make a special controller for a game that had, pedals for controlling braking and gas, and make a steering wheel or something like that, and have a horn, you could do all those fun things.
That's
cool.
cool.
Just break it out and make it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Very exciting stuff, Ron.
We just crossed the 2-hour mark.
Ah, perfect. So now we've done our due diligence. We can shut this down.
Yeah.
So,
paid by the minute.
Paid by the. It's overtime now. We get time and a half, double time and a half. So thank you for everyone joining us this evening. Everybody, there were
Ryan, you never said where they could find you.
Find me? Well, I'm here, obviously.
Yeah.
When I'm not here, I'm over there.
Mm-hmm.
So between here and there is where you'll find me. You can find me online. Everything's Broken Garage on YouTube. I'm on a lot of streams. You'll see me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me in. I'll stretch the stream out to 7. Oh God. Listen, Steve.
The last time 2 hours ago on my watch.
The last time I lent you a sweater, you stretched the neck hole out. It never went back properly. I'm not letting you stretch another stream out because it'll never go back in the box.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today, guys. Again, thanks to Frank, our other host, who had to step out early, and to Sloopy, our guest host, who replaced Trina. Thanks to Ron for always being available when we want some clarity on something or a funny story. Or both. So yeah, thanks everybody, and hit that like button. And if you want to hit that subscribe, feel free to do so. And have a fantastic. Oh, here comes Mackie. Oh no, it's Mackie. There's a Mackie.